I'm calling to order the meeting for today, July 17th, for the Beaufort County Airport Board. First part is a Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
All right. Public notification of this meeting has been published, posted, and distributed in compliance with the South Carolina Freedom of Information Act. First order of business is we need an approval of the agenda. So I need a motion on that. All right. Got a motion. We got two motions from the left with Rich and Howard. Anyone opposed to approval of the agenda? Hearing none, we'll move forward with the agenda. It's approved. Now we need the approval of the minutes from the last meeting, which was June 12th. Jim, second. You weren't here?
I wasn't here.
Okay. David?
I wasn't here.
All right, Rich. Rich is going to be all over this meeting in the minutes. Okay, any discussion of the approval of the minutes? With no discussion, anyone opposed to approval of the minutes from the last meeting? Hearing none, it passes. So now we've got time for public comment. Do we have anyone from the public who would like to comment? Happy to be here with you all. Okay, thank you, Tom. We're moving then to the director's report, and John is out of town, so today is Steve.
Good morning, everyone. It's not Bash Steve Day. Because normally when John's out of town, it's let Steve have it. So, but I'm happy to be here today. And John's flight got delayed, so I have the meeting today, which is not a problem. Hopefully it'll go by quick. So the director's report, I kind of readjusted his slideshow a little bit because I'm doing the meeting. I'll do it the way I want to do it. A couple new pictures for the terminal. As you can see, some major changes that kind of went on between the last meeting and now. The black on the side of the terminal, what that is that's like a rubberized material that seals in the terminal. You can see the silver roof. The roof is completed, so it is officially 100% what the project manager calls dried in. So it's completely dried in over there. Next couple pictures. On the one on the left, you see that cone there. We took that picture because that's new asphalt in the parking areas. Some of those parking areas we had to take away to do construction, and we've recovered some of them back. Those two parking cones are additional EV parking spots that we didn't have before. So that's where EV parking charging stations will go. The top right corner are the second two lanes that we paved for a total of 4 lanes. And you'll see a better picture, not here, that's some more parking lot recovery. But the picture I did want to show you is that big one on the left. Even though there's still a construction fence there, that's there because they got to do some siding work. That's the next step on the main terminal. But it's kind of angled, but you can see how wide now the lanes are in front of the old terminal there. They're going to be striping those out, putting some striping down the middle, identifying taxi spots, handicap spots, and we have a lot more room over there, which is nice, especially for the security guards who are helping people get out of their cars and get into their cars. A lot more room, so we're happy about that. Some of the stuff that's going on the inside, you can see the sheetrock has gone up on the inside. For the most part, we're about 85% complete sheetrock and mudding. So it's really taking shapes, looking like we're getting close to starting some finishings on the inside. I know on the top right picture, you can kind of see that far right room. You can see there's tile in there. Both those bathrooms are almost completely tiled out. So they're almost completely finished inside the bathrooms. That bottom right picture is looking up at the high ceilings. Those are metal framed out, and there's a little bit of sheetrock, but that's where the big, glorious colored light fixtures and/or fans are gonna go or on the top ceilings. So that's kind of, we're moving into those stages of picking the right colors, making sure they match the right fans that are going in there. So John, Rocio, myself, Dan, a couple other people are turning into interior decorators, making sure we pick the right doorknobs and the right hinges and the right colors, carpet colors and things like that. But it's gonna look nice, and we're getting closer, so we're excited.
Steve, when is it scheduled to open? Remind me again.
Spring of '26, we're using that term, spring of '26.
Spring. That's a
Every other week, we do have a meeting with the contractor, and they have a schedule, and they give us a conceptual completion and a final completion. And it adjusts, you know,
All right.
a week here forward, a week back. He recovers a week, and then he loses a week. So it just kind of wobbles its way through, so.
Ready before Heritage or no?
We're pushing it. I'm hoping we will, but we'll see.
This is still technically phase one.
This is technically phase one.
Can you just a 2-second description of what will be completed by the end of phase one?
At the end of phase one, that's a good question, Howard, thanks. As a review, the entire terminal was bid out. And it was post-COVID, and it came back way more expensive than what we had the funding to do. So we had to kind of cut the terminal into 2 different phases, and we rebid out phase one. And with the funding that we did have, we were able to build 3 new hold rooms for phase one. And that includes 3 jet bridges. So phase one is going to encapsulate the check lane, TSA check lanes. So there's going to be 2 available check lanes, TSA office spaces, 3 brand new hold rooms with 3 jet bridges, all new furniture, that's what you're looking at here. And then there's a 4th optional future walkout, extra gate, overflow gate down at the very end for use. And that also includes all that new paving and stuff out front to lengthen that out.
At the end of phase one, the jet bridges will be operational?
Yes.
Perfect.
That answer your question? Good?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Has there been any progress on the funding for phase two?
That is what John is working on. That's his job.
Steve, I'm in weekly harassment with Jeff Bradley, who is kind of leading the charge for us with the state. And this year, they changed the way you get, what's the term, Judy? It's add-ons or cap, I can't remember the term.
Discretionary.
No, it wasn't discretionary, but in any case, they eliminated that process in this year's budget, which caught all of them off guard. But apparently, the guy that was leading that charge, this guy that's running for governor now, who has been exposed that he screwed his partner, blah, blah, blah. Well, Jeff believes that may become that funding may become a non-issue now, and we might be able to release some funds. But it's very fluid. The House is not in session, but Jeff is working it behind the scenes for us, and John is obviously working behind the scenes.
The parking vendor has been changed. We have a new parking vendor in there currently.
Yes.
And I did notice that the 2-hour free parking in front of the terminal for people picking up or dropping off, it looks like that has been eliminated.
Well, there's never been 2-hour free parking in the drive lanes in front of the terminal.
Not the drive lanes, but in the nearby, the closest, must be 20, 30 spots right in front of the terminal was an hour or 2, I forget what it was, but an hour or 2 free parking for people picking up or dropping off that didn't want to use the drive-by lanes. That seems to have vanished.
All of the terminal parking areas for customers was 2 hours free parking. It's been reduced now down to 30 minutes free parking. So there's still 30 minutes free parking. Rental car side, that doesn't count. That's not customer parking, but all of the customer parking.
This was a big issue that Leslie asked me to bring up because she's not here. When we were working the ambassador program several weekends ago, people were coming in and they were not being given free anything. they're immediately charged $4 as soon as they put their credit card in the kiosk, and they were complaining about that bitterly, because they were just there to pick somebody up.
That's good to hear, and if it was written down from the ambassadors, I can take that to Elite and I can address it.
Chairman, and the term is earmarks. They eliminated earmarks this year, and that's where we would get our funding.
Right.
So that's, this guy, again, I can't remember his name, Mallory, I think, probably is not going to be an impact anymore once all this legal.
Well, and they'll come back in session in January,
Yeah.
next session.
Okay. Moving over to Beaufort Executive, as everybody knows, we did a runway rehab over there, so we did a 2-inch. Some areas of the runway required only about 1 3/4 inches. There's some areas that required 4 inches of asphalt or overlay. Step 2 of 3 is complete. Step 2 did some minor milling, but most asphalt and temporary markings. I wanted to be the first one to take off and land on the new runway because it's so smooth, but I was like, the next day is the first time I could do it, and I took the picture. So that was probably the second day that it was open. I know it's a little high, but that's the best I could do at the time. But it is smooth, I can guarantee it's smooth. The next closure is gonna be around September timeframe, give the asphalt time to cure, and then we're gonna do permanent glass bead markings on that and groove the pavement in September, and that'll be the last step in the rehabilitation. We did do a final inspection with a punch list with Talbot, Bright, and Ellington yesterday. Everything looked good. It passed all the punch list items. They'll come out one more time after the grooving and the markings, the permanent markings are done.
How long are we looking at for the grooving and marking?
They told me yesterday, give us 5 days. It could be done quicker than that, so there's a 5-day window. So I'm looking at 5 days in September. I'm not sure what day they want to start yet. That's still a couple months down the road, but
That'll be, just be aware for succession.
Succession,
I think
yep.
we're open the 15th.
yep.
That's earmarked for a complete closure of the runway, correct?
Going to have to be, and I'm also working with the contractor because we might be able to do work at night. So if I close it, it'll be night. I still have to do a pre-con with them to decide if we're going to do it at night. If they can do it at night, I only have to close it at night to do the work. That'll be preferred. Don't quote me on it, but that's what I'm shooting for.
Could we back up just 1 second to HXD? Is there anything further to report on the north end of Hilton Head with respect to
Right now, nothing
a
further
potential
report.
tenant? Nothing?
Nothing right now.
Can I ask one more question about the north end, but on the opposite side of the runway?
Okay.
There is a building over there that I think the county owns now, or it's inside the fence, I believe, that has had a very, very dilapidated back facing the runway for 8 years now. That's one of the first things people see when they come into the airport. Is there a plan to do something with that structure?
We have a quote to demolish it. Now we got to find the funding to be able to pay for them to demolish it. And the airport owns that.
All right, back to ARW. Or now,
So there's the picture for ARW.
Where's the, so because we were talking about what's gonna be coming up about the
Okay, yeah.
taxiways, this would be a good spot to kind of, if you can kind of point
Okay.
out where that what the taxiway, because we're gonna be talking about, because I know we're all excellent committee members. We all read through the action items, and part of the action item is about the taxiways coming up on ARW. And I was talking to Steve before the meeting. I think it'd be a good idea just to explain what we're looking at for this extension on these taxiways, so he
Yeah, so,
understands it.
and I'm glad you brought that up, Chris, because here's the picture and get a visual now. Jumping ahead when you guys vote on a work authorization for the parallel taxiway. One of the items that Talbot and Bright, we're gonna ask you for is a vote for a work authorization for Talbot and Bright to do the design and bidding to extend the taxiway from its current location, which you can see orientating on this map, north being runway 7. It's gonna extend from where the taxiway is through the grass in the middle, coming south all the way down And you see in a grassy area, approximate location where the grass isn't green and it's kind of brown, it's gonna angle somewhere around that point over to the runway instead of coming all the way down to the end. And the reason, and we're still gonna be in the design phase, there might be a different option that comes up, but that's kind of the initial design phase. The reason is there's saltwater impact there, and saltwater mitigation is extremely expensive. But for the safety aspect, we get almost a full taxiway, and instead of having to back taxi all the way down runway 25, you might only have to back taxi, 25, 50 feet versus that entire length. So we're doing the best we can with what we can without having to mitigate saltwater.
As you put the extension in, will there be a run-up area created someplace along the new extension?
We already have a run-up areas
There's a run-up
at the end
before
of the
you
pad.
get to the taxiways.
At the end of the,
Well,
That lollipop is not a run-up
no,
area.
it's not a run-up area. It's over on the edge. If you look at,
That last
It's on the connectors, yeah.
right here. That's a run-up. There's a sign there too stating it's a run-up area.
Yep.
So when you said it's going to be angled to the runway, is it going to be 90-degree angle or a gradual slope?
The preferred is a gradual angle. Again, we're asking for work authorization for the design, so it hasn't been designed yet.
And the only reason why I'm asking about that is I know the trouble we've had at Hilton Head with taxiways getting too close to the runway. There's going to be a footage issue on that somewhere along the way, isn't there? Doesn't there need to be a minimum distance from the center line of the runway to the taxiway?
You're getting into class of airports for commercial, and this is general aviation.
Isn't there still a GA?
There is a
minimum
GA,
too?
and we're well
Yeah, but
within those.
it's different if it's a connecting, I think also if it's a connecting taxiway, as long as if it's parallel, there's a distance, but
Yep.
when it comes to connecting, I don't know, based on the angle, but I think that's the reason why we're using, we have someone who wants to participate that we rarely hear from, so our ears are open.
But before Judy speaks, I'll reiterate that when we vote on this is for the
Design
design
part. Yeah.
and the bidding portion. So Talbot Bright will go through all of those regulations and make sure that we're in compliance.
Your taxiway is in compliance now, and all we're doing is coming off of the one that you've got and carrying it through.
Yeah,
So you're in compliance. And there is a significant difference between this, which is, I believe, is a B2, and Hilton Head, which is a C3.
okay,
Separation is not as wide.
yeah,
Hilton Head, it's 400 feet. Here, I believe it's 240.
okay, thank you. And that is also going through, just so everybody understands, this is still the design phase, is that it is gonna go, it's gonna come off the taxiway from 7, and it's gonna come through the middle as well.
Yes.
So that'll be a complete, almost the length of the,
Yes.
not quite the length of the runway, but it's, 3/4. It'll ultimately be 3/4 of the way of the runway, to make it safer.
Gotta keep people off the ramp if they're taxiing back.
Yeah,
Sounds like I won't have to brief much on
yeah,
the voting process. Good visual.
okay,
Okay, moving on. Just a couple of items, I don't know, to make you guys aware of and some information. There's a signing authority memo that John and I just recently received, and we had one with the previous county administrator. And what that memo gave the director of the airport authority is to sign hangar agreements, any operating agreements, leases, and things for anything that resides within the boundary of the airport security fence for both airports. We wanted the new administrator, the current county administrator, to have that, so we just got that letter signed by the new county administrator. So that's for your information only. That gives us the ability to sign. If we didn't do that, county council would have hangar agreements every year that we have to have those signs. We would be backed up with the time constraints and the requirements. We likely would not have people in hangars because it would take so long and we wouldn't be able to generate revenue. So we got that council approved and assigning authority for us to be able to do that. I am going up to the State Aeronautics Commission on the 22nd to brief for state money. to come in on remember the last meeting, you guys had an awful lot of items that you guys had to approve. So I'm going up there to do that brief again to the state to get funding for most of those items that you guys approved for us on the last meeting, and we appreciate that. ARF chief, if you guys remember our last ARF chief, he resigned, he had some personal issues and he couldn't work full-time anymore. We believe that we've located one who has accepted an offer. That's as far as I'll give you right now until he gets here permanently. But I wanted to make you guys aware that we do have one inbound who accepted an offer. So more to follow on that. Over at Beaufort Executive, the Water Festival is going on in Beaufort. If you didn't know, and this weekend is the air show. Tomorrow at 1 o'clock, we have 3 air show pilots that are showing up at 1 o'clock. And we wanted to do something a little bit more than we've done in the past when they show up. Typically kind of like a meet and greet. Hey, welcome to Beaufort. Thanks for coming for the water festival. We appreciate you being here. They'll be here landing at 1 o'clock. We'll invite them in, but we're also doing a community outreach at 1:30. And I wanted to offer an opportunity to some people in the community that might not have an opportunity to meet some of these pilots. I know when I was a kid, an air show pilot, for me, it was like, wow, that's a rock star, or a race car driver, you know, or somebody like that. So we reached out to specifically 2 groups, DSM, which is Disabilities and Special Needs Kids, and CAPA, which is Child Abuse Prevention Association, and they're bringing their kids in. The pilots are gonna have their hero cards, and they can sign them and do autographs. And I know we reached out to the board members, and a couple of them are gonna show up to that. So if you have time, come by around 1:30 and see the kids and see how they react to the air show pilots. I think it'll be special for them. So we're excited about that, and that happens tomorrow at ARW. Marlene wanted me to pass the Flying Frog 5K. If you didn't know, we've moved that run, we think, to a better date for more participation. It's gonna be April 18th of 2026. And tell everybody you know to sign up to come out and run the 5K or walk it if that's what you choose to do. But the registration is open for that date. And then an update, ARW site work update for the hangar construction. I was told yesterday that the permits are in. We're good with those. And I asked for a date for a pre-con. I confirmed that the company that is doing the work is ready to go, and I am waiting for the project manager to give me a date that I can do a pre-construction meeting so that I can issue a notice to proceed. That is as far as I will go on that one.
Great.
So I think
good news.
that's movement in
Yeah,
the right
movement.
direction. And then, of course, you can scan the QR code to get some more pictures and terminal updates as they come in. Tom Mullen takes a lot of pictures and he posts a lot of those on there. So even more updated pictures that are there. And with that, gentlemen, that'll conclude the deputy director's report for today, unless you have any questions for me.
Do you think it'd be possible for you and John to arrange a brief tour for some of the board members over at HXD?
For the
Look at
terminal?
construction, the inside, and
Absolutely. I just need a solid date that's good for you.
Talked
We can
about this
schedule
before. I
it.
think
Yeah,
we
I've
talked about this
offered it.
before, and I think
Yeah.
I think what it'd be, I would like to do it, and the problem is I need to schedule it, because probably just like the rest of everybody else, if it's not on my phone, on my schedule, what do you think if we did it, because are we still gonna be back here in 2 months? Is that still the plan? Yeah. Okay, why don't we plan on meeting after it, or meeting before? I think after would be better, wouldn't it? Because before really kind of pushes it. But I don't know, you tell me.
I will say, anybody having to drive to Hilton Head for anything before 10 o'clock is tough with traffic.
Yeah.
Conversely, in August, the heat after 10 o'clock is pretty tough to deal with inside that,
Yes, we'd be
that
in
terminal.
September, but this would be September because it's July, so we wouldn't be
Yep.
back here for 2 months. That'd be September.
Yeah, so
We
the
could do it
weather
for
might
after the
work.
meeting.
Maybe we could do the board meeting and then everybody go grab lunch and then do it right after lunch or something. We schedule a time to meet over there. My issue is I have no problem giving a tour, but I try to tell the airlines wanted one. Okay, airlines, y'all need to get together and come to me as one group.
Yeah.
Because then I'm doing a tour for this airline, this
Yeah.
airline, and
No,
I'm
no,
bouncing
right.
back and
That's
forth.
why I think we do it all together
We
at
need
once.
to get as many together, do it all as once. That way I can answer the question one time instead of multiple different times.
You might consider, whenever the tour is, whatever date you decide on, inviting some of our county people and certainly our local Hilton Head council members.
That invitation has
If
been
they choose to
given
come.
and is available to them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
a
it'd be
bunch of
just up
times.
for us to schedule and reach
Yeah.
out to them and bring them in.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and to save time, I'll tell you what I'll do. Being chairman, we can just get like Jersey Mike's party pack, and that way we're killing 2 birds with 1 stone. I'll pay for it.
All in favor?
That's it, exactly. You heard it, and it just went live on TV.
It's
Voting business must be
recorded.
good this year.
Yeah, there we go. So let's plan on that. We just need to remember to put that out in the memo.
Howard's
when it goes
smiling
out.
after that
I know,
one, so
Howard
I'm
is
happy
smiling.
that Howard's smiling.
He's got a free lunch. He's not smiling.
Voting business is really taking off this year.
Yeah, no, if it had, it would have been more than Jersey Mike's. So, okay,
It's gonna be the September meeting.
September meeting, we'll do it after the meeting.
That good? That works for you and John, Steve?
Really,
Yes,
the
sir.
only thing I could see that could screw it up is something that's going on with the contractors where we wouldn't be, but I don't.
I
with
can
where
get around
the
that.
status you're at, I can't believe that it wouldn't be, there would be an issue there. So, yeah, let's plan on that. All right, and so, any other questions for Steve? Excellent job, Steve, thank you. So I don't think we have any unfinished business, so we can move past that. Move into new business on the action items. So the first one will be the work authorization and recommendation to approve Talbot Bright and Ellington work for the taxiway F. RAFA, is that how it's pronounced?
RUFA, it's a runway object-free area. So this is a work authorization, like it says, for Talbot, Bryant, and Ellington to do the ROFA, the runway object-free area environmental assessment. That's a requirement because, like Judy said, we are now Class 3. We have been a Class 3 airport, which is the requirement for that is the taxiway is too close to the runway in basic terms. And that taxiway has to be moved to make it within standards, at minimum on the commercial side of the airport. So before we can get into the design, the bidding, the construction, we have to do an environmental assessment that's provided to the FAA so they can go through everything that's gone through with that, approved, and then we can move forward after that. So we need a work authorization approval from you guys to allow Talbot and Bright to conduct that assessment.
But, and this is if a design for, or, environmental, but if this goes forward, we have to purchase, what, 12 acres of land to move this taxiway 100 feet?
There are a lot of steps beyond this environmental assessment.
Right, yeah.
However, I will say, from what I understand, speaking with the FAA, speaking with Talbot and Bright, having a current environmental assessment for the entire length of this taxiway, once it's done, it's done. We don't have to do another one. So to Brian's point, when we need to demolish a building, we don't have to get another environmental assessment. When we need to purchase property, we
use it
don't
for
have to get
multiple
another
things.
one.
All right.
We get this done, it's a step in the process that once it's done, then we can move forward with everything, all the other steps it takes to
So it's
move.
pretty much everything within that area of the airport.
Yes.
It's gonna cover, okay.
Okay, that's helpful because
Are there from the FAA, there are no waivers available? Because as you know,
We're currently in a waiver.
taxiway Foxtrot, there's not a lot of room to the north side or west side of that taxiway to move over. You're almost at the fence line with the wings hanging over the taxiway now, over the grass area now.
Right, that's what this
But we
is.
have the only waiver, there are no additional waivers to leave the taxiway in place as is?
We are currently in a waiver.
The waiver doesn't, but you have to show steps going forward.
Right, we have to show progress.
Compliance.
Yeah, it almost got shut down without the waiver.
That's right.
Okay. Any other questions at all for Steve on this? Okay, so first, I think we got to have, so there's no discussion on it, so we need a motion. Number one, okay. We got Brian. Okay, we got Tom. Second. Any other discussion? Anyone opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes for the work authorization. Number two is work authorization, once again for Hilton Head to approve Talbot, Bright, and Ellington for airfield drainage improvements. Go ahead and explain that one.
In the past, you guys have seen the work authorization for the design and bidding for this, and now we're at the construction piece of it. This is for the grates, to say it, and that probably rings more familiar. Due to the Class 3 designation, when we were Class 2, the drainage grates on the airfield, you've probably heard this, were outside of the zones that they had to be. Once we became a Class 3, those grates now migrated on the inside. The construction of the grate itself, when they were outside of the area, they could be any material and they were aluminum, and that was fine. Now that they're inside, they have to be aircraft grade. So in order to make them aircraft grade, you can't just put a new steel or iron grate over the top because the structure underneath might not can handle it. So we had to go through the process of doing a work authorization, design, bidding. We've done all that, and now we're at the construction level. So we need a work authorization for them to get the construction piece of this completed.
Yeah.
Questions?
Mr. Chair, what's the differentiation from 2 to 3?
About 50 feet, right? I think it is. It's 50 feet. So the distance between the center of the runway to the center of the taxiway, is it 100? Yes. Is 100 feet off now. On a Class 2 airport, it could be 300 feet. Now we're a Class 3 airport, it has to be 400 feet. So when we were 300 feet, these grates were outside of that distance. Now, because we have to be 400 feet, which is why we have to move the taxiway, these grates fall within that 400-foot distance.
Thank you.
Did that help without having a visual?
Yeah. Any other questions? All right, I need a motion. Howard? Rich, second. Anyone opposed? Speak now. Hearing no opposed, motion passes for number two. Number three is a work authorization for ARW to approve Talbot, Bright, and Ellington work authorization for the partial parallel taxiway. We shouldn't have a lot of discussion since we already had discussion on that. So I'm going to go ahead and move for a motion. Jim, second. David? Any opposed to allowing that to move forward? Hearing none, motion passes for three. Work authorization, recommendation to approve Talbot, Bright, and Ellington work authorization. Maybe they should buy the Jersey mics. We're approving all this work for our meeting. For parking lot gates, design and bidding. And this is for HXD, and this is for part of the new terminal
This is a new
process.
parking vendor, Elite Parking, which was brought up earlier. One of the things that we learned once they came in, right now it is a temporary situation, which is just like the situation we were in before, where you're paying for parking on a barcode or on a kiosk. There's no gates. The intent for the airport was to have a gate that you go in and a gate that you go out. When their drawings from Elite came in and they looked at the parking lot and they're like, okay, the dimensions of our drawings, it's going to be rather difficult. This might become a project to do the civil work to install these gates in this small parking lot. Keep in mind, Beaufort, or Hilton Head Island Airport is the smallest commercial airport in the country. People don't normally realize that until they see our parking lot. And then they're like, their eyes are opened a little bit. So I'm glad this came up before. I knew I'd kind of touch on this now. We're temporary right now with Elite. So this work authorization for Talbot, Brighton, and Ellington is get with a company that can kind of take a look at our parking lot, give us some options, and design a place for these gates, an entry gate and an exit gate, to where people can have easy flow in, easy flow out, and easy payment systems for the commercial parking lot area.
How many parking spots do we actually have at AJ?
Not a lot.
We don't have a number?
There's
roughly?
about, if you count some of the gravel spots that we've kind of tried to put in to add spaces in there, I'd say about 260.
Yeah, it's not a lot considering.
It's not a lot. When people ask me and call, hey, where is your long-term parking? In the same place the short-term parking is. And it's the same place as the cell phone lot. And it's the same, it's all the same. There's not a lot of parking there, so.
Is there an intent, when you look at the gate structure, to have 2 exit gates, 1 exit gate, or is that part of the study that's gonna be done by Talbot?
That's part of the study that's gonna be done, to get as much as I can out of this. I want them to look at everything, possibilities that is gonna best be suited to the airport now and for future development with the parking lot.
Is it the intent to have customers still share the parking lot with the car rental agencies?
We have no choice. That's the only lot we have. So how is the best way that we can design this parking lot most economically to best support the rental cars and the customers, and meet the intent of the town of Hilton Head, because there's rules we have to follow with design on their end as well. Can we address and look at the option of a 1 or 2 level garage? And we want to go down that road too, to see if that's even an option.
And the plan is to have it be completely peopleless, right? There'll be it'll be all automatic, peopleless, with nobody having to man a gate anyway.
Yeah, that plan remains the same. And I wouldn't say it's not necessarily peopleless. One of the things that Elite provides is 24/7 video surveillance at a command center that they have. So there is a person there that can raise that gate and lower that gate. So there's somebody there that would actually talk to somebody if they're having a problem.
How often is the parking lot actually full?
Right now, seasonally, because we have 3 airlines only during peak times of the year, I would say 2/3 of the year that it's full, and it's not all day that it's full, but during that time of the year, it gets full and then it trims out a little bit every day.
All right, any other discussion? I'd like a motion. Jim, second. All right. Got that for Brian. And is there anybody opposed to moving forward with the parking gate design and bidding? All right, hearing none, opposed, motion passes. So we'll move on to the chairman update. Chairman update really doesn't have a whole lot to update based on the thoroughness of Steve's reporting. So I don't think we have anything really to discuss. On the committee side, ARW improvement, I don't think anything's happened there. Most of it's been dealing with the hangar site, waiting on the permit that now has been approved. So on the committee side, Leslie's not here to really update us on the ambassador program. I'm assuming it's going as well as it always does.
Yeah, she just wanted me to mention that we've already talked
Yeah.
about the parking issue.
Good.
Other than that, the program has been going very well.
Okay, great. And we had, Rich, do you have anything update from the, with what we've gotten? All right, I think we could move past that then. Do we have, so we'll then go into the citizen comment. Since we didn't have anybody at the beginning, do we have anybody at the end for citizen comment? Nothing? All right.
I have one issue and 2 comments.
Okay, well, which would you like to do
For the
first?
Hilton Head Improvement Committee.
Right. Okay, because I missed the Hilton. That's my fault, Brian. I apologize. Go ahead and give us your update.
So over the weekend, as happened many times before, we had another thunderstorm hit the airport, and it knocked out the gates on the GA side of the fence. And as of this morning, one of the gates is still not working. I just have a suggestion that when this happens, that somebody sends out a message to the people that are over on that side of the airport to inform them, because it's actually a safety issue right now, because people that went away for the weekend, when they came back, they couldn't get their cars out of the airport. And yesterday, I actually got a call from one of the guys in the control tower wanting to know how he can get in and out of the tower. They had to go all the way down through Signature and drive their cars almost on the taxiway to get to the tower. So I don't know if there's a solution to that, but there needs to be a way for people to get in and out when the gates fail. And on Saturday, all of them had failed. So that to me is more of a safety issue even than a security issue.
And that's, I guess the question really becomes, I mean, I don't know, because of the status now of the airport with TSA and safety and going in and out of gates, you just can't open the gates and leave them open, correct?
No.
You're right. The security issues, we can't just open the gate and leave them open. But there is a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week manned aircraft fire and rescue. And if you're a tenant at that airport and you have a security badge, everybody has been given that phone number to enter that gate. And then everybody knows if something goes on, that's where you can for sure get into the airport if you have a badge. That
get
is
out of the
part of
airport.
the security briefing when you get a badge at the airport.
That may need to be reiterated back out on an email then, is what you're saying, Brian, for them to contact the airport.
We can
fire.
remind them, people like that. I would like to remind everybody to in order to keep a list of every single tenant and everybody that flies in and out of the airport is a pretty laborious task. But we do have a list of everybody who has a badge, and that is briefed to everybody who has a badge. We have a hard enough time, a lot of people, just to wait for the gate to close, which is part of the training
Yeah.
they're supposed to do, much less remember, oh, I got a phone number just in case something
Yeah.
happens. It's always a problem when it happens to them. So I get it, I understand that, and publicly I can say the ARF is manned 24/7. Sometimes the maintenance crews, we don't know. If the lightning strikes, we don't know right away
Yeah.
either.
Not until somebody tries to use the gate and it
Not
doesn't work.
until somebody
That's when you
tries to
find
use the
out.
gate. And it's not just on the GA side. My office, nobody can ring the call box right now. My click to enter works, but we didn't know the call box wasn't working until somebody tried to call us to get into the gate.
Okay.
So we didn't even know for several days that the call box wasn't working.
All right.
But
It might be worth, given we have some signs on the fence, maybe post a phone number on one of the signs. For people, particularly if they're stuck on the inside and don't know how to get out.
Yep, there's some phone numbers we need to keep within the people that have the security access to the airport. And that might be.
But on the firehouse, I mean, what if there's really a fire that somebody sees? It'd be nice to have access to that number right off the bat.
If you did it on the inside, though, wouldn't it be only people with badges that came on the
Yes.
inside anyhow?
Yes.
If you did it on the inside. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'll take that to security
Okay.
and make sure we can do it.
Yeah, see if that may be an easy solution,
Absolutely.
assuming people read the sign. Not that I've ever forgotten to read the actual sign and follow the instructions.
Yep.
So.
And I
just-
believe there is phone numbers on those gates. There's contact numbers
No.
on those gates. I'll go and double check.
I'm pretty sure there isn't.
So,
Then just two minor observations. One is, we have the Beaufort, or I guess it's the Hilton Head Bluffton Chamber of Commerce that sends out emails about stuff going on all the time. They've been doing a very good job of advertising the Savannah Hilton Head Airport instead of our airport. Even quoting recently, I got an email from them that one of the magazines is advertising Savannah as being the 9th best airport in the country. That doesn't help us much at all.
Yeah.
And so along those same lines, I don't know if the two are tied together, but as you may remember, I've been bringing this up about every 6 months to a year, looking at the numbers of how many people are flying in here. And sure enough now, halfway through 2025, the number of total GA operations coming into the airport is down again from where we were last year. And it's been going down steadily for the last 4 years in a row now going on 5. So the question again I'll bring up is, moving forward in the future, do we want this airport to be growing or shrinking?
Yeah, on the GA side.
Because it's shrinking right now continuously.
Yeah, that's, Yeah, because I was actually looking at the Aero, 1,200 Aero numbers. It was interesting, the number of flights, top airports for ARW. 52% of our flights that we get in are coming from Hilton Head.
You know why?
Yeah, I know exactly why.
And
Yeah.
I think that's, well, that's
Yeah.
And remember, in Beaufort Executive, the reason for the decline in April and June because of the runway closures.
Yeah, we were, right. But looking at it, PDK was up there. I mean, it only had one flight, but GMU was, once again, that interesting, but not surprising. Probably the biggest surprise on it was, Hilton Head. So,
Well, I think most of the members who fly in and out of Hilton Head know why
yeah.
traffic's down.
Yeah.
Not a lot we can do about it at the moment, except if we get some activity at the north end.
Right now, I'm just quoting the numbers, but that's food for thought as to why this is occurring. I think a lot of us already know the answer, like you said.
Okay. Thank you for that
Hilton Head
information.
Airport's at, Hilton Head Airplanes at Beaufort getting gas.
Yeah. Yep. So,
Which is kind of silly,
yeah,
but that's,
$2 a gallon is a
but
big
that's
difference.
accurate.
yeah.
It's worth a flight.
Yeah, it is worth it. All right, thanks, Steve. So we don't have anything. All I'm looking for is a motion for adjournment. Anyone? There we go. Everybody wants to, I'm going to give it to Howard. Second, we're adjourned. Thank you guys for all your help.